Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift, here to answer your questions and have some fun with it. So let's get down to the questions. Hey Aaron, I was wondering, why did Vince get so mad about Alberto Del Rio saying his name? I don't think it ruined the storyline. I didn't even honestly catch on to it. Yeah, what happened backstage, there was this segment with Del Rio and Triple H, and Del Rio name dropped Vince McMahon saying, you know, I wish Vince McMahon, I pray that Vince McMahon was back in charge. And apparently the word going around backstage is that Vince McMahon blew a gasket when he heard this, and, you know, he felt that it gave away the future storyline of Vince returning. Now, my opinion is I actually kind of liked the whole foreshadowing of Vince coming back. I saw nothing wrong with it, so I was kind of surprised when, you know, the news came out that Vince got really pissed off. I guess he was just having a bad day or whatever, but yeah, I mean, as far as Vince McMahon returning to TV, that's something that's pretty predictable and expected. How many times now has Vince McMahon done this fake retirement or something to be written off TV only to come back like a month or two later? It's happened at least half a dozen times now. So it's not a surprise at all if he comes back. I think Vince just needs to take a chill pill and relax. You know, I think most fans expect him back at some point, one way or another. And they know that even though Triple H is running the show on TV, it's Vince McMahon who's still in charge from behind the scenes. And Vince McMahon is never really going to be gone until he's probably dead. Hey Aaron, with the recent releases of the WCW DVDs and the Monday Nitro stage being downloadable content on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, do you think WWE will have a WCW One Night Stand pay-per-view like they did with ECW? I highly, highly doubt it. The thing with ECW is that it had that cult following, and it was a very specific brand in terms of, you know, ECW's hardcore wrestling, and, you know, they had the lucha guys, and it had a very distinct style. With WCW, what would they do for a WCW show? Would they just bring back Goldberg and DDP and Buff Bagwell? And I mean, what exactly is WCW style? Cruiserweights? WWE already had a cruiserweight division, so it doesn't really make much sense. There was, a couple months ago, there was rumors going around that maybe they would do it since the retro WWE Raw episode last year did a good rating and got a lot of positive feedback, but yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Hey Aaron, great show. I wanted to know, in your personal opinion, who is the most successful big men in wrestling history? Example, Big Show, Andre the Giant, Mark Henry, etc. Well, I think when you look at all the elements and all the factors, I would say the most successful big man would be Undertaker. He was a big guy. He could move in the ring. He could have great matches with the right opponents. And he had, you know, the awesome character. The Undertaker, probably the single greatest character in WWE history. So that's who I would go with. And, of course, Andre the Giant and Big Show got to be at the top of that list as well. How can WWE improve the Divas division? Why not hire more Divas and have a Divas tag title, since Divas of Doom and the Bellas and even Kelly are tag teams? Or bring back the women's title when Karma comes back. Bring back the Big Show-sized diva. Just bring in some Divas that can wrestle. Bottom line, the problem is that John Laurinaitis and, you know, those guys in WWE Creative, they keep hiring fitness models and then try to teach them to become wrestlers. Why not just bring in some women that actually have experience as wrestlers and then, you know, focus on enhancing them and trying to make them look pretty or whatever? Yeah, I think they have it ass backwards there, and that's why the Divas division lacks so much. Did you go to any WCW events back in the day? I actually went to one show for WCW. It was in 1994 at the Antelope Valley Fairgrounds in Lancaster, California. It was right after Hulk Hogan signed with WCW. The main event was Steve Austin versus Ricky Steamboat. I believe it was one of Steamboat's last matches. It was like around July, August 1994. And yeah, Hogan was not at the show, of course, because this was just, you know, some rinky-dink little fairground. But yeah, it was a pretty cool show. I did buy a Hogan poster, and it was cool to see Steve Austin and Ricky Steamboat and all those guys, and the Guardian Angel, Big Boss Man, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun show. Yeah, I wish I'd gone to more, you know. I wish I was able to go to that Nitro in 2000 they did at Staples Center, but just it didn't work out. And if I'd known WCW was going to go out of business, I probably would have pushed harder to go to some of those shows. Hey Aaron, great show. For the sake of argument, if TNA were to die completely right now, who would WWE pick up? Well, I'm sure they would pick up guys like Robert Roode and James Storm, probably Samoa Joe, maybe AJ Styles, and maybe Daniels, maybe Kazarian, but beyond that, I don't really see them interested in a lot of the guys on the TNA roster. Most of the TNA guys, are people that WWE rejected and don't want anything to do with, like Ken Anderson and, Dudley's and so on and so forth. So, yeah, maybe a handful of guys, but not a lot like WCW. I don't think so. What were your thoughts on the WCW women's division overall? Wasn't Oklahoma the women's champion? Enough said. Do you think Edge's retirement has had a negative impact on SmackDown so far? Well, definitely, because it's just one less major star that SmackDown has. They did get Orton, and WWE brought in Orton to replace Edge as the top star on SmackDown. But yeah, I mean, one of the best things about SmackDown over the last 4 or 5 years has been Edge. So yeah, definitely SmackDown took a hit. Hey Aaron, you are doing great on your videos. So what is your best match of 2011 so far? Mine is Cena versus Punk at Money in the Bank because the atmosphere was great and the match just rocked. I agree with you 100%. Aaron, I love the show, but you have yet to answer a diva question. I just did. Actually, 2 of them. Top 5 divas of all time and what diva needs to return to help the division. Well, number 1 would be Trish, no doubt about it. Number 2, maybe either Lita or Sunny. I like to put Sunny on there because she was the first diva. And then maybe throw in Tori Wilson or Stacy Keibler or Sable. I don't know if I said 6 right there, but those would be my top ones if you're talking about strictly the divas. If you're talking about all women in wrestling, you'd have to throw Miss Elizabeth in there and Sensational Sherry and maybe Fabulous Moolah and a couple other ones. When will WWE drop the masked Cody Rhodes gimmick? It's getting really boring. I agree. I think that the gimmick's kind of running its course here. It only has so much potential. I do think Cody Rhodes is good on the mic, but the gimmick it's mid card. It's something that I don't really see being a main event gimmick. So we'll see what happens on SmackDown in the coming weeks. I don't want to spoil anything, but it might be coming close to the end for that gimmick. We'll see what happens. Hey Aaron, do you think someone like Kofi Kingston or Evan Bourne will ever get a major title push and win? I know they've had title matches, but do you think they'll ever win it and become more than mid-carders? As far as Evan Bourne goes, probably not. I think he's going to go as far as he's gotten. And as far as Kofi Kingston, same thing. He had that brief push in 2009, 2010, up until Randy Orton called him stupid, and then that was the end of his push. Yeah, if Kingston was going to get to that next level, he would have done it a few years ago. Now, I'm not so sure. Should TNA get a second show so they don't have to cram too much into Impact? No, please, no second show. If you're having to cram too much stuff in, maybe you should cut down your roster a little bit. I know Dixie Carter, she's a nice lady. She wants to get as many people employed as possible and allow them to make a living, although a lot of these guys aren't making that much money in TNA right now. But really, what you should do is cut down the roster a little bit. Trim the fat. That's what TNA should do. All right, that about does it for a NoDQ&A video on NoDQ.com. We have a new fan forum set up, message boards. Go to NoDQ.com.proboards.com. In the next few days, once the DNS goes through, it'll be NoDQforums.com. I have a NoDQ&A forum set up there, so if you want to submit questions, I will be doing some text NoDQ&A questions. So go on there and check that out. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. And please keep spreading the word and subscribing. I really appreciate the support. And to the critics out there, thank you for the free publicity. On that note, we'll see you next time for NoDQ&A video.